everyone, it's Christina Blacken, founder of thenewquo.com, a place for status quo breakers to share their voices and move the world. And I just had to sing that song because I love singing songs and I feel happy. And that is the subject of today's video, happiness. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. It is not easy to find happiness in ourselves, and it is not possible to find it elsewhere. These quotes summarize what the hell is wrong with happiness. It seems simple and straightforward, but is really personal and complicated. Ask 10 people you know what their definition of happiness is, and you're going to get 10 very different and probably really confusing answers. Who the hell am I to be telling you how to be happy? I can get why you may be thinking that, and I do not have all the answers to the happiness question, but I've discovered some techniques that may be helpful to you in improving your approach and perspective on happiness. I'm sure you know people who seem to be happy all of the time, and I think that they smoked life crack from their pipe and are just all the time, and it's confusing, but I also believe that you deserve a hit of life crack too. You deserve a hit of happiness. So, what is happiness? Well, there's a lot of research out there that's come out recently, and a particular researcher, Sonia Lebowski, found that there are 3 specific factors that determine happiness over the course of your life. The first factor is genetic. Hate to break it to you, but 50% of your happiness is determined by genetics, which means if your parents are melancholy or depressed, you're probably going to start your happiness meter a little more empty than everybody else. But I've got some good news. 50% of your happiness is actually controllable. Of that controllable 50%, 10% is determined by your circumstances, which are your relationships, your family, where you work, and your health. So if you're in abject poverty, obviously if you increase those circumstances for yourself, your happiness will increase. But that increase in happiness starts to peter off around $75,000. So you go from this like cool doing it to like me flatline $75,000. This is because we get used to our circumstances. For instance, if you're really poor and eating sugar sandwiches on Wonder Bread every day, or if you do a Freaky Friday and switch bodies with Jay-Z and start balling so hard motherfuckers trying to find you, either of those circumstances you'll get used to, and it won't decrease or increase your happiness by much. The final chunk of your happiness, this 40%, is determined by your outlook and actions. I hope that is blowing your mind right now, because that means that 40% of your happiness is in your own hands. So whoop whoop to happiness, because you got that 40%, baby. So with that said, here are 4 tips on how to manipulate this 40% so you can increase your happiness. The first tip is you need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's okay if things don't go exactly as you planned. Like that cliche saying that life is a roller coaster, it's really an understatement. Life is like that disastrous Sharknado movie where sharks are being whipped up by tornadoes. It's exciting, but also terrifying. And if you continuously worry about the future and it possibly being the worst case scenario, you're going to be plagued with anxiety and depression. So it's okay to plan for the future, but be happy in the present if it possibly doesn't work out, because that's a healthy way of dealing with life's ups and downs. Second tip is to get grateful on them. Studies have shown writing something that you're grateful for down on a piece of paper every day, even just for 2 weeks, can increase your baseline happiness for 6 months. And I know sometimes it's hard to think about being grateful when you're having a crap-tastic day, but even something as small as having a great conversation with a friend, or finding this really awesome 4-ply toilet paper that feels like a marshmallow wrapped in a soft cloud when you wipe your behind. Those are 2 things you could be grateful for and write down, and you will see the benefits of looking at the small things. Third tip is to embrace the moment. 47% of the time, our minds are wandering and not paying attention to what we are actually doing. You probably aren't even watching this video right now, and I'm gonna give you a stank eye if you aren't. But that doesn't mean that we can't take in the present and stop worrying so much about the past and analyzing and hoping and predicting about the future. Taking in the present is really a key to just being happy. And the next time you're at an event or doing something that you enjoy, really stop, take it in. Put your phone down, take in the sights, the sounds, the smells, the memories, and I promise you, I guarantee you, your happiness will increase even just a little bit. The fourth and final tip is to pursue your intentions. Matching your lifestyle as close as you can to your actual interests and values is so critical to your happiness. I can't even emphasize this enough. If you are a person who loves working with kids, but you're stuck behind a cubicle like Dilbert all day, you're going to be really, really unhappy. Or if you're crazy creative, but the most creative thing you do on the daily basis is pick what color underwear you're going to wear, you're not going to be happy. The more that you can match your interests and values to the things you actually do every day, the happier you'll be. Happiness is a question that will probably never ever be answered, but we do know now in our day and age that there are some actions and there are some habits that can help you with your happiness. So it's on your shoulders, boo, to be happy. It is up to you. Special note to people who have faced adversity or trauma in their life. I'm talking to people who are in marginalized groups, especially whether you've been marginalized by your race, your sexuality, your religion. You deal with a lot of trauma and adversity in your life, and yeah, I can totally get not wanting to take the idea of just empty positivity as your way of being happy, because that's bullshit. But taking these particular tips and also supplementing them with support with therapy or learning coping strategies and improving the resilience of your mind, you'll be happier. And speaking from personal experience, I've come from a really poor background, single parent home. I've had a lot of adversity, but I've learned through that two things. You can either find coping mechanisms and mental strategies to continue to move forward healthily in your life, or you can wallow in your worry and your pain, and that usually doesn't lead to a happy life. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you have not. Share it with all your friends because they deserve to also learn some tips about their happiness themselves. And go over to thenewquo.com to see what is on and popping, because I always share new information around social critique topics, personal development, or career-related interests. So until next time, keep a new quo status, and I will see you on the flip side.